Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So yeah, in this video I'm going to be talking about my top 15 favourite movies from the year 2003. Yeah, not a exciting year in my opinion, although there are some great movies here. I was just a little bit underwhelmed by it. I found it quite difficult to pick 15. In all honesty, as I get, nearer to number one, the films I think are absolutely great, but yeah, outside of like the top 10, I found it really difficult to add 5 more, but I managed to do it. And yeah, that being said, this is just my list, my personal favourite top 15 favourite movies from '03. Your list is going to be different, and of course, so it should be. I'm going to leave again a full list of honourable mentions down below. And yeah, these again are all in accordance with the release dates from IMDb. They all have 2003 against their name. So that being said, gonna kick it off with number 15. So coming in at number 15 for me, we have Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation, starring Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, this was kind of the movie that sort of put Scarlett Johansson on the map for me, I think. I remember really not liking the film first time I saw it. I thought it was really slow, really boring, but I kind of just got that was the point. It's sort of about these two people's relationship that develops. They're two strangers that sort of meet in a foreign country, and they kind of just sort of develop this friendship, and that's kind of the movie. Everyone's wanting to know what sort of Bill Murray whispers in her ear at the end. And that's the big question. It's not a movie I go back to a hell of a lot. I think it's good. It makes number 15 for me, and yeah, it's a slow burn, but yeah, I overall, whenever I sort of go back to this one, as little as I do kind of enjoy it just a little bit more. But yeah, coming in at 15 for me, we have Lost in Translation. So coming in at number 14, we have Clint Eastwood's Mystic River, starring Sean Penn. Yeah, this was another movie I did not like the first time I saw it. I did not get it at all, sort of get what was going on. But yeah, going back to it on rewatch, it holds up a hell of a lot more for me. It's a really, really interesting movie. Follows Sean Penn, whose daughter goes missing and is found to be murdered. And it's sort of about trying to find out who did this, who committed this evil act. And it's got a great cast to it as well. Kevin Bacon, Tim Robbins, Sean Penn. Sean Penn as well won Best Actor at the Oscars for this movie. And yeah, it's just an all-round powerhouse of actors, giving 110% in their performances. And yeah, it's just another great directed film from Clint Eastwood. Really, really awesome. Suspenseful murder mystery, this one. And yeah, it's definitely worth your time. So yeah, coming in at number 14 for me, we have Mystic River. So coming up next at number 13, we have The Station Agent, starring Peter Dinklage. Yeah, this was a movie that kind of took me by surprise. It's a small movie, very independent movie. I really enjoy those sort of independent movies that came out in the early to mid 2000s, and this one's absolutely great. It sort of follows him, who at the beginning of the movie, he works at this model train store with his friend, and his friend passes away, and he leaves him this little tiny station that he owned, and he leaves it to Peter Dinklage, and it's basically Peter Dinklage going there and meeting locals, and he sort of develops this relationship with this woman as well. And that's pretty much the movie. It's just a joy. It's just a real well-made, fun, independent movie, and I just really enjoy this one. So if you've not seen The Station Agent, check it out. Dinklage gives an amazing performance in it, and yeah, it's just a gorgeous looking movie as well to boot. So yeah, that is my number 13 pick, The Station Agent. So coming up next for me at number 12 is the first of 2 Christmas movies to make this list, and it's also the first of 2 Will Ferrell movies. So yeah, coming in at number 12 we have Elf, starring Will Ferrell. Yeah, This is just this is a movie that absolutely oozes the Christmas season. I think the movie for me, it is quite low on the list because it is a Christmas movie. You only really watch this one only at once, one time of the year, and yeah, it's fun. It's cliched. It's not doing anything new with its story, but it is a funny movie. It has a lot of charm to it, and it is enjoyable and it is entertaining. And yeah, it's a very, very simple premise, but yeah, it's fun. It's likable. It's everything you'd want from a Christmas movie, and like I said, it really does capture the season really, really well. And yeah, you just absolutely love this one when you watch it in December. It really gets you in the Christmas mood. So yeah, that is my number 12 pick, Elf. So coming up next at number 11, just missing out on the top 10, we have Old School, the second Will Ferrell movie on this list. Also starring Luke Wilson and Vince Vaughn. This is just a really fun college movie from the early 2000s. It's absolutely hysterical. It's got a great soundtrack. It's got a great cast of characters who are pretty much trying to, compete in this sort of college tournament. And it's a lot of fun. The laughs there are delivered at a million miles an hour. It's just great. It's a really, really funny movie. Kind of put Will Ferrell on the map. There's a lot of great sort of little cameos in this movie as well from other actors from other movies from this sort of similar genre. And yeah, it's just a great rewatchable, funny movie. Jeremy Piven plays a great villain in this movie as well. And yeah, I just really enjoy it for what it is. I have an absolute blast with this one. It cracks me up. And yeah, really enjoy it. So yeah, just missing out on the top 10. Coming in at number 11, we have Old School. So cracking into the top 10 now, and coming in at 10th place, we have a horror remake, and it is the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This was actually the very first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that I saw before seeing the original, and yeah, I just absolutely really enjoyed this movie. I do think the original might be a better made movie for the time that it was released, but this one for me, it really captures the Texan heat. I just really feel sweaty and sticky when I watch this movie, and it just absolutely drips that in atmosphere. For me, it's just, it really does. I can't praise the atmosphere of this movie enough. It's gritty, it's violent, it's got one of the best looking Leatherfaces in my opinion. He just looks an absolute behemoth in this movie. It just feels like if this guy got punched in the face, it would have the impact of a butterfly's fart. He's just that absolutely big and brutal and muscly. Yeah, he's just an impending force, an impending, figure in this film, and you just feel so helpless when you see what he's doing to these characters. And yeah, it's just a gritty, dirty, sweaty, hot movie, and I just love the look of it. I just think it's great. So yeah, that is my number 10 pick, the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So coming up next at number 9, we have Shattered Glass, starring Hayden Christensen, probably most well known for playing Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars prequel movies and in some of the Disney Plus Star Wars TV shows. But yeah, this for me is hands down his best performance. He plays someone who is working for this newspaper publishing company, and the story is pretty much stories have kind of dried up, and in order to make them interesting, he falsifies and fabricates stories for newspapers, and they print them and they run with them, and he makes sure everything down to a T is, has all of its loose ends tied up in terms of, his leads, his sources, even though they're non-existent. And he turns this newspaper sort of company into a success, and it's all based on lies, and his performance in it is just absolutely great. Don't let his performances from the Star Wars stuff put you off, because that body of work doesn't really display his talents very well in my opinion, but this movie sure does. And yeah, it's just got great acting, it's a great story, And yeah, really underrated movie, this one. So yeah, coming in at number 9 for me, we have Shattered Glass. So coming in at number 8 for me, we have a movie starring John Cusack, who's leading an absolute star-studded cast in this film, and it is Identity. A fabulous thriller. I really enjoy this one. Great premise. It sort of follows these group of people who end up being stuck at this motel, and all of them start dying off one by one, and it's just a mystery of who's doing this, what's happening. Some great suspenseful moments in this movie as well, and yeah, it's just great. And as each character starts dying off one by one, every time someone dies at the scene of the crime, a motel key is left, and it has a number on it, and as they all start dying off one by one, the numbers on the keys start to count down to 1, and it's just absolutely brilliant. What a premise. Really interesting movie. There's some absolutely great deaths in this movie in terms of, you know, creativity and the horror elements to it. It's really awesome, but the ending is kind of a little bit of a letdown with this film. You can kind of see where it's going and what it's doing, but the first 2 acts of the movie are really strong. They are executed so well, particularly the middle bit when all the murders start to happen. Yeah, really awesome thriller, this one, but that ending just lets it down. So yeah, that is my next pick though, Identity. So coming up at number 7 for me, we have Monster, starring Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci, based on the real-life serial killer of Eileen Wuornos. This movie has one of the best portrayals put to film ever, in my opinion. Charlize Theron as Eileen Wuornos absolutely is firing at all pistons in this movie. She delivers a performance well and truly worthy of her Oscar. Yeah, it's just talent in abundance from Theron in this film. She's great. She just completely disappears into this role. It just feels like, where did she go? It feels like I'm actually watching the real life Wuornos. And it's just basically, you know, tells the story of her and the murders and what went on, and it feels like she kind of feels like a sympathetic character in terms of she was always gonna go down this path. There was no other alternative for her. This was her upbringing was so tragic and horrible, and this was the only way for her to get by in life, and it's such a shame, and it's so horrible. Not excusing her crimes or anything like that, but it just feels like there was no other option. That's what had to happen, and it's awful. It's a shame, but the performances in this movie are just absolutely second to none. It's phenomenal acting in this film. So yeah, that is my next pick, Monster. So coming up next at number 6 is another Christmas movie, and yeah, I just enjoy this one a little bit more than Elf. Definitely watch this one each year, and it is Love Actually. Hugh Grant leads an amazing star-studded cast in this movie also. Too many names to mention: Emma Thompson, Alan Rickman, Bill Nighy, Rowan Atkinson, Keira Knightley. The list goes on. And this is just an amazing movie with so many actors in it that you'd think, ooh, are there going to be too many chefs in the kitchen here? No, absolutely not. Everybody gets an equal amount of screen time, and they all have interesting and fascinating stories. You aren't really bored at all by any of them in this movie, and you would think it would just be a hodgepodge and a mess, but it's just Richard Curtis, the director, did an amazing job trying to, you know, sew all of these characters and storylines together, and it just really works. The Christmas setting is great. I love the countdowns in this movie that show up. It really feels like, you know, you're watching it in a time scale, and yeah, it's just so much fun. Really enjoy this one. So yeah, coming in at number 6, we have Love Actually. So coming in at number 5 for me, we have a sequel to a comic book movie that came out in the year 2000, and it is XMen II. Yeah, a great sequel, a great follow-up, following on, you know, delving into the past of Wolverine, Logan. as a character. I think it's great. Making Stryker the villain in this movie is wonderful. How did he sort of get his adamantium claws, and the mysterious past that it tries to delve into is just absolutely great. Really, really enjoy this one. Some of the best action sequences in a comic book movie as well. The opening with Nightcrawler at the White House is just brilliant. It's one of the best openings ever. It's phenomenal. How the camera work is great, using Nightcrawler's mutant abilities, which is teleportation. It uses that in such a great effect, and the execution is just brilliant. It's just an all-round great film. It advances the characters. It's a fun time. Really, really enjoy this one. So yeah, coming in at number 5 for me, we have XMen II. So coming in at number 4, we have Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill Volume 1. The Kill Bill movies are some of the best revenge movies out there. I just really enjoy this one. It's a very simple premise. The bride, played by Uma Thurman, is pretty much getting revenge as her wedding turned out to become an absolute massacre, as some old colleagues of hers who were trained assassins show up at her wedding and pretty much murder everyone and left her for dead. She survived, wants to get revenge, and it's all 5 of them are sort of led by Bill. And yeah, it's just amazing, this movie. The action sequences in it are great. All the stuff with the Crazy 88 is absolutely phenomenal. The violence and the gore is just right up there. The soundtrack is phenomenal. The movie looks great, and it ends on a big cliffhanger as well. This one, it just really rewatchable Tarantino film. Absolutely brilliant. Goes hand in hand with the sequel as well, and yeah, just an all-round great time with this one. So yeah, coming in at number 4 for me, we have Kill Bill Volume 1. So cracking into the podium places now, coming in at number 3, we have Finding Nemo taking the bronze medal. What a gorgeous looking movie. You actually believe you are underwater watching this film. It is just stunning. The colourful characters in this film, the great story about Marlon and his son Nemo, who ends up being taken by dentists and put into a fish tank, and it's about his dad scouring the oceans to try and find him. And yeah, it's just such a great movie. Absolute feel-good film. The characters we meet along the way are so much fun. The movie is just always on from one scene to the next, not overstaying its welcome. And yeah, it's just a brilliant, brilliant family film. Really, really enjoy this one. All the characters we meet along the way are hilarious, especially the ones in the fish tank. Yeah, it's just an all-round gorgeous looking movie. Great characters, great time, great film. So yeah, taking the bronze medal for me, coming in at number 3, we have Finding Nemo. So coming in at number 2 for me, just missing out on the top spot, taking the silver medal for me, is House of Sand and Fog, starring Jennifer Connelly and Ben Kingsley. I did not know what to expect with this movie. I thought it was going to be a boring drama film when I went in, and the drama is very, very much there, but the movie is far from boring. It pretty much focuses on Jennifer Connelly, who is wrongfully evicted from her house, and her house is sold to Ben Kingsley and his family, these immigrants that have come over to America. And the whole movie is sort of disputing, who's in the right, who's in the wrong here. Jennifer Connelly's doing everything she can to try and fight and get her house back, while Ben Kingsley's character is very much like, we bought this house fair and square, it was sold to us legally. And yeah, things get out of hand very, very quickly in this movie. And the ending to this movie, by the end, you just feel so deflated and worn out and exhausted because of where things get to. And you question with yourself, how did things get this badly out of hand? How did we get this far? It's absolutely harrowing, the ending of this movie, and it's borderline awful. As a viewer watching this film, for certain characters, the outcome is just absolutely tragic. It's completely worth your time. It's well worth investing the time watching this movie. The acting in it is absolutely great. Jennifer Connelly's great. Ben Kingsley's great. it's just, that ending is just absolutely exhausting, and it just wears you out. But I really, really enjoy this one. It's my number 2. So yeah, coming in at second place we have House of Sand and Fog. So coming in at number 1 for me, taking the gold medal, is of course Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Yeah, what a brilliant way to wrap up this trilogy. Everything is concluded in this film. No loose ends are left. Everything is tied up, wrapped up, and presented in this fantastic bow of a movie. The movie won Best Picture at the Oscars as well. It killed at the Oscars. It won countless awards. It took home nearly everything. And yeah, it's just one of the best war movies ever. The battle for Middle-earth in this film is just absolutely top-notch. The story is great as it leads to Frodo and Sam and Gollum trying to get to Mount Doom to destroy the ring. Gollum is just absolutely manipulative in this movie, and yeah, it follows all the characters that we followed from the beginning as they come to where they're meant to be and taking their place. Without giving spoilers away, the king returns in this film to Gondor, and yeah, it's an amazing film. I know a lot of people have issues with the ending of this movie. I remember when the movie came out, everyone was making fun of how this movie ended. And for me, it never bothered me. It is tying everything up. It isn't leaving any loose ends. And it's kind of the way it's edited. It fades to black and then it comes back in so many times that it misleads you, and you just think, is this going to end? Is this going to be over? And that's absolutely fine. But it is giving you that conclusive ending. And it is very, very satisfying. And it's my favourite film of 2003. So, yeah, taking the gold medal for me. Coming in at number 1 is Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. So, yeah, that is it, guys. Those are my top favourite 15 movies from the year 2003. Gonna leave the video there and say thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.